Good to go.
Thank you. Before I call the meeting to order, I just want to thank Deputy Mayor Young for taking care of a few events the last couple of weeks, and for the staff and the operators for doing a great job with snow removal and keeping the roads and sidewalks clear for everyone. Having said that, I'm going to call the meeting to order. The time is now 6 o'clock. First things first, we'll do an approval of the agenda. The motion is that the agenda for the council meeting of February 23rd, 2026 be approved as presented. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? I see Councillor Burton and Councillor Tracy Young. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Are there any declarations of interest tonight? Seeing none, we'll move on. We don't have any presentations, and we have no delegations tonight. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay, good. So we've got minutes of the previous meetings. So we have 3 of them that we'll do. We'll do them in order. The first one was a council meeting on January 26, 2026. So the motion is that the council minutes dated January 26, 2026 be accepted as presented. Mover and seconder for that. I got Councillor McConnell and Councillor Kirkby. I'll just call the question. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Next is 6.2 was a special council meeting of February 9th, 2026. The motion is that the special council minutes dated February 9th, 2026 be accepted as presented. Can I have a mover and seconder for that? I got Councillor Burton and Councillor Campbell. Thank you. Any questions or concerns on that meeting? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried, thank you. And the third one was a regular council meeting of February 9th, 2026. The motion is that the regular council minutes dated February 9th, 2026 be accepted as presented. A mover and seconder for that. Councillor Tracy Young and Deputy Mayor Young. Any questions there?
I do.
Yes, Councillor Campbell?
I believe Chief Rennie Rayner was left out of the people who were in attendance.
Okay, good catch. Chloe will get that. Anything else? Anyone else? Lee, was that you or no?
With me with an itchy head, thank you.
Okay. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Number 7 is communications and petitions, which I see there's none. 8 is consent reports. We have a council information package. The motion is that all items listed under the consent reports section of the agenda be accepted as presented. Is there a mover and seconder for that, or does someone want to take something out of the consent agenda? No, so I'll call for a mover and seconder. Deputy Mayor Young and Councillor Campbell, all in favor? Carried, thank you. No committee reports. I really don't have much to add on my mayor report, so we'll go around the table. Geez, from where I see. So, you okay there, Leanne?
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
So, any committees or outside board meetings that you have, we'll start on my right here with Councillor Tracy Young. I usually leave her for last. So,
thank you, Mayor Shankar. Let's see. We had a BIA meeting on February the 11th, and we met at the Walk House. So our intention is to hold meetings at a downtown location in the future. Our AGM has been set for March 31st at 5:30 at the town hall. Our budget 2026 has been approved, and we will be looking for council approval on that. February 19th, we had a Heritage Committee meeting. Our chair had attended a Heritage training course with a Heritage professional, and she provided an interactive summary overview for all of the committee members, which was really good. We learned a lot from that. And she also confirmed with the Heritage professional that the review process that we're using for our properties is correct. So that was that was really good to know. And on Saturday, along with other council members and Deputy Mayor Young, I attended the ACCC to support the Spencerville Arena's Craft Hockey Bill nomination. And we signed the regional banner of support and some of us submitted stories and photos as well. So that was a really good event. And that's all for me.
Thank you, Councillor Young.
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Ray Young.
Thank you, Gory. I'm sure you know that Steve Clark visited us last week. He announced a grant that we will receive for $500,000. I thought he was going to give me a check, but he didn't. He just made a promise to look after it later on in the year. The money will be used down at our water treatment plant. A few years ago, we came close to losing some of the equipment in the plant because the high water mark of the St. Lawrence River. So this money will build up that shoreline to prevent that in the future, and there will be money also going forward to improve a generator, buy a new generator, replace the one, I think it's something like 40 years old, was it? So Steve is always welcome in this chamber, especially when he brings good news like that. But the point that he made during his speech was a lot of times the work that the staff puts in on a request or an application for money makes all the difference in the world. He said, our presentations are always top notch, and that's why we would be getting money, whereas some other municipalities might not get the money because they didn't fill in all the blanks that we did. So he congratulated Matthew and his staff on the quality of the application. I thought that was worth mentioning. Tracy has already said all the rest of council attended at the Land Chartrand Community Center. That is, other than one convalescing in Johnstown and the other one doing whatever in Florida. The rest of us were up and early, 9 o'clock in the morning. That's early on a Saturday morning for me, but we were there. And we support the endeavors of the Spencerville Arena Committee that is working on their craft program. What is
Hockeyville.
Yeah, Hockeyville program. That's the word. All right. I think that's all. I have a meeting tomorrow morning at St. Lawrence Lodge. Nothing outstanding on the agenda. We're still in universal masking because there are cases of influenza, COVID-19, and RSV in the building, so you cannot enter without wearing a mask.
Okay.
And I think that's it. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Deputy Mayor Young. Lee, I'm going to go with you next because you're usually sitting right next to Ray.
All right, thank you very much, Mayor Shankar. Just to expand a little bit on what Ray had to say about the grant for the water treatment plant and the quality of the applications that we've been submitting. We have, in my memory, received well over $2 million in grants for the water treatment plant in the times that I've been on council. And that is largely due, as Ray said, to the quality all of the applications that have been put in, and credits go to our staff for the work that they have done on this. The water protection or water barrier that we're going to be building has another function as well. The old cement wall that was there that's been deteriorating for many years and is actually unsafe, that will be replaced or covered as well. So that's an accident waiting to happen that we're getting rid of there too. Other than that, we had a wastewater board management meeting just a couple hours ago, which you chaired, of course, probably from the same chair you're chairing this one. I didn't realize, I asked you how you were. I thought you were sick. In all honesty, I didn't realize that you had a knee replacement. So I apologize if I was a little facetious there. I just didn't realize that you
That's
had
okay.
an operation. But we received information on the state of our affairs for the past year and the expectations for the coming year. Matthew, as usual, is very good with his accounting and was able to explain it quite nicely. And we are in a good position. I should note that there will be an increase in the fees that we're charging as of, I believe, July 1st this year. As a couple of our councillors will realize, we went through many years when there was zero increases in the fees that we charged, many years. And that was due to the fact that a few years before that, there was a huge increase. And we've held the line for many years, but with the quality of the system that we have now, the sewage treatment plant, with the complicated nature, there is a lot of infrastructure that we need to look after that needs to be replaced on a regular business basis, that has to be modernized as time goes on. And that costs money. So we will have to increase our rates every once in a while to compensate for that and to build reserves for the replacement of that plant, because the provincial government has indicated that they are not going to be forwarding money for that type of thing anymore, that you have to plan for it yourself. So I think we're on a good footing there going forward. And that's basically all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor. Moving around, then we'll start with Leanne. Sorry, Councillor Burton, you're up.
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. Just echoing what our councillor, Young talked about going to the ACCC. It's a great event. Nice to see our neighboring municipalities come in. You know, North Grenville was there, and Augusta, and of course Edwardsburg Cardinal and Prescott. I think there was about 20 of us.
Oh, anyway.
Yeah, minimum 20 of us. It was nice. It was nice that we all came together for that support. And I had a Shakespeare meeting, and we're still looking for billets. So if anybody out there interested in being a billet for Shakespeare, we need a few more. So, and that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Burton. Councillor Campbell, you're up.
All right, thank you, Mayor Shankar. I also attended Steve Clark's announcement of the grant for the wastewater plant. It was just great speaking one-on-one to him and having the media there, etc. So that was a great event. We were on the front page of the Recorder and Times, so that's awesome. And I also attended the Craft Hockeyville event on Saturday. For those that do or don't know, it is point-based. So it's all about how many points Spencerville Arena gets. And what they're really looking for now are stories. You can get 10 points per story. So just go to crafthockeyville.ca, click on Spencerville Arena, and write a little story about why the Spencerville Arena is important to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Campbell. Last but not least, Councillor Kirkby.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Shankar. I attended the Craft Hockeyville, submitted the stories, liked my 15 pictures. So again, I would just echo, you know, it's good to help our neighbors and keep rinks open. Once you lose one, you may not get it back. We were lucky here in Prescott to get one back. So outside of that, I did just want to mention on the wastewater is, although we're going up, we did we did have a positive revenue and the expenses were below. So the Aqua Group that maintains our water plant and our wastewater facility do a top-notch job. When you look through it, there's not a lot of unexpected breakdowns. They seem to perform their maintenance on a routine basis and take advantage of the times to keep the facility running at the top level. Just on an operation side, the snow removal that was done last week was east and west, water to wood. Anybody that's taken a drive around town, you can see that pretty much all the snowbanks are gone. We just had a little snow. On Friday, it was still snowing. I think it was around 4:30 and I seen the trucks already out, start to scrape and put the salt down. And then we got that a lot of snow and the roads were clean really quick. Outside of that, I don't have anything else really to report, except you mentioned billets. So I'll take the opportunity to just talk that the Leo Boyven Showcase is coming up March 26th. They're still looking for 8 families in the Prescott, South Prenville area to billet 8 hockey players from PEI. So got 2 teams coming from PEI and they're all pretty much billeted except 8. So we're working on trying to get that final 8. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kirkby. You know, with our town being such a hockey town and such good people, you'll have no problem getting those 8 billets for sure, as well as Shakespeare. And that's great news about the water plants where revenue is up and expenses are down. I wish all of our committees were like that. All right, we're going to move on to our staff reports. We have, let me see here, 4 staff reports tonight. The first one for information only is staff report 07-2026, the supplementary report, OPA 2025-001 and ZBA 2025-002, Thomas Street. So I think this is from our planner. Oh, there he is. Tim, floor is yours. It's for information only. Everyone.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll leave this one as short as possible. We did have a public meeting February 9th in regards to the zoning bylaw amendment and the official plan amendment. We received 2 written objections and we had some public comments during that meeting. Council directed staff to review all the comments that were received and work with the applicant and their agent to consider amendments to their concept plans. I'm happy to say that we staff have spoken to the applicant and their agent, and they have revised their plan. Actually, it's up on the screen here. The key takeaways from the comments that we received was the loss of existing trees, which provides a natural visual buffering from the industrial land uses and helps with the reducing noise and obviously helps with privacy. Ensure and I guess one of the questions was how can we ensure that what is shown is actually going to be built? And then there were some concerns in regards to noise generated from the building and some external lights and their impacts. So when we took these concerns into consideration here, there was a number of changes that they've made. So most notably, the landscape setback has been increased from 10 meters to 20 meters, so doubling it, behind 268 Wood Street. They've also increased the landscape buffering from 10 meters to 15, and that's behind 284 Wood Street. And they're going to maintain a 10-meter buffer from the rear yards facing Walker Street. Additional vegetation is proposed within that landscape area. They did advise that there's a lot of dead wood that's in there. They're going to go in and clean it up. And they may be looking at introducing some evergreens that so that it can give privacy all year round instead of just having deciduous trees there that will lose their leaves in the wintertime. They've also proposed a 2.4 meter or 8-foot privacy fence along the rear lot lines of the properties facing Walker Street and Wood Street. They've removed the parking area that was actually located behind the addition, and that could be accommodated elsewhere on the site. And the addition is actually set back 27 meters from the rear lot lines, specifically from 268 Wood Street. One of the things that they were looking at as well too was providing no windows or loading bays on the back wall of the addition. However, they are required to provide a fire exit door or multiple fire exit doors under the Ontario Building Code. And they're going to keep that to a minimum. And those doors would most likely be alarmed and have to be closed unless during an emergency. We did meet with one of the complainants planner, and we went over some of the concerns, and we received some positive comments. We are hoping that we're going to be in contact with the complainant and hopefully address their concerns and either have them waive their concerns, or we can hold a future public meeting and obtain new comments based on the new plans. So one of the things that we did go through as well too is talking about the site plan process. And one of the things for clarity wise, the zoning bylaw amendment here is just to create a framework in order to ensure that the building or development could happen within a certain way. The details about the plans and details in regards to sound and lighting, that sort of thing, are all specific to the site plan process. And during the site plan process, we have to ensure that the project complies with the official plan and zoning bylaw, and also the requirements, obviously the special requirements that we would be applying through the site-specific zone. So the site-specific zone will address the increased setbacks for the landscaping and all the other issues that we've covered here. So I guess we are planning on having this come back at the next council meeting for public meeting and I guess for consideration.
Thank you, Tim. So as I understand it, we're going to have a public meeting before our next council meeting next week. And then after that, we'll bring it back to council 2 weeks after that for final approval. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Any questions from council? I can't see Tracy or Ray.
Yes, I
So I
have a
don't-
question.
Okay.
I was
Yeah.
wondering if Tim could go up to the plan up here and point out some of the things that you just said. And not solely for us, but anyone watching from home.
Let's see, can you zoom in to?
Which one, Tim?
I feel like a teacher. The backside, I think. Yeah, towards Wood Street.
Sorry, in this area here.
So
Yeah, that's perfect.
essentially what they're doing for residents who have been here for a long time, the existing building on the right is the old Domtar building
The one over here.
above that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the one on the left with the lines is the Portolano building,
Old warehouse.
correct?
No, it's a, well, I don't know. Was that, did they have a warehouse there?
Yeah.
Okay, so then that is the warehouse, because the old stone building is gone.
Oh, yeah. No, but they had a new,
That was their newer warehouse, then yes.
so this addition will effectively join the two buildings together?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's going to make an improvement in their production facility. They will be hiring 12 more people. And thus, that's what this is all about. So 4,500 square meters in square feet for those of us that still think in square feet. 15,000 round number.
Oh, you're asking me? I have no idea. I have to look that up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what we're eliminating here is an unopened road allowance coming off of Walker Street, right?
Yes.
And that's never been used and it never will be used now. And then these were building lots down here,
Yes.
correct? Residential building lots. And then if we move it up, Chloe?
To Wood Street?
Yeah.
So this is, Wood Street is along here, and these are where the three houses on Wood Street that are most affected by this whole thing sit. But the improvement that we made in the plan now is a larger buffer area.
Yeah, I can kind of go over real quick. So there is a very faint yellow dashed line, which shows what the existing setbacks would look like. Now the yellow line is 10 meters here, and they're proposing about 20 meters to this line, which is back from, was it 284 or 260, 268, I think it is. Numbers aren't on here. This area here has been increased to 15 meters, and this area here would still maintain the minimum requirement. They are asking, or they are proposing a 8-foot fence along the perimeter here, which would give additional privacy. And also here, they're also looking at adding additional vegetation as well too, because as I was explaining, a lot of this is dead wood. They want to clear it out. But by doing that, it's going to thin it out. So they want to make sure that these people are going to still maintain the vegetative look. So they're going to be adding additional vegetation here. The parking that was here has now since been removed and actually placed elsewhere on the site to the north. That's just showing where potential parking could be. It may not be exactly in that spot. But yes, they've taken into consideration all the concerns from the residents here, particularly this individual that had the primary concerns. And I think they've tried to address a lot of the concerns that they see. So, and we'll definitely get into the details and a supplementary report at the next meeting.
All right.
I
Thank
think
you,
they've
Tim.
done a very reasonable job.
48,000 square feet,
Sorry?
48,506 square feet.
Really? Wow.
Okay, so thank you, Tim. That's great. And we're going to move on then to the next staff report. Staff report 08-2026 is a tiered response agreement. The motion is that bylaw 07-2026 being a bylaw to authorize the participation of the town of Prescott in the tiered response program in partnership with the Leeds Grenville Paramedic Service be read and passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, and sealed by the seal of the corporation. Can I get a mover and seconder for that? I got Councillor Kirkby and Councillor Burton. Did you want to speak to this, Chief?
Yes, please, your worship.
Okay, floor is yours.
Thank you. So I'll just provide some background. We had a bylaw 04-216, so this is not something that we're just doing for the first time with a tiered response agreement. We've worked in the Prescott Fire Department, along with other fire departments within Leeds and Grenville. I've worked over 20 years of doing this, establishing a tiered response agreement. And what it does is it outlines responsibilities for each party and what we can and can't do. The reason why we have this in front of you this evening is under the Ministry of Health, they have changed the implementation of how medical calls are dispatched. We used to have a code system, and now it has gone to the high acuity calls, which are purple and red, and then low acuity is orange, yellow, and green. What this allows the EMS to do is base their resources on calls that are of threat to life, those purple and red ones. So for us, what it allows us to do is go to those certain calls and not orange, yellow, or green ones. So there are times where we would go to calls and we get what's called stood down, as we were not required. Still now, EMS can stand us down on a call if it comes in as one of these high acuity calls, they could still stand us down, but at least now we would know that we would attend those type of calls. And then they did delete some older documentation insofar as I think years ago you could purchase an old EMS ambulance and use. I know some of the fire departments have been able to do that. So, but I think they just realized that I think once they're out of service, they're pretty well out of service. They have several 100,000 kilometers on them. So for an alternate, council could not extend the tiered response agreement with the counties. And then final implications, really there are none other than the fact that, as I said, that we might not go to as many calls, thus, maybe saving some wear and tear on our apparatus. I know it's kind of short, but I didn't know if you had any questions before everybody else in them.
Chief, I have a quick question. When we would be stood down for when you'd arrive at the scene and then you were told to stand down, then we wouldn't get compensated for arriving at the scene. Is that correct?
Your worship, because it's a tiered response agreement, we would just attend those calls. And then because EMS have the professionalism to be able to say we weren't required based on what they see when they get there, or the fact that they're already dealing with the patient. So it would be just part of what we would do in our role. But if we went on the 401, that's a different thing, because a lot of those calls, and I'm glad you mentioned that actually, because that's something I'd like to bring up, is a lot of times people driving on the 401, they'll see a vehicle in the snowbank and they don't know what's happened to people. So they thought, well, we'll just tear everyone out and see fire department coming everyone. And it could be just someone who's just slid off into the ditch. So again, it keeps us out of those calls and going to those dangerous areas when we're not required.
Right.
Hopefully answer that for you, Your Worship.
Well,
Thank you.
Short answer, we do not get compensated for those calls to the 401.
Well, I think we do.
We do.
Not for stand downs.
No, not for stand downs, correct. Any other questions for Chief? Seeing none, I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Carried, thank you. 12.3 is staff report 09-2026, the Rural Ontario Program Funding Application. The motion is that council authorize staff to submit a funding application to the Rural Ontario Program under the community development stream by the February 26th deadline for a downtown revitalization and marketing project with total eligible project costs of up to $189,500. So if I can get a mover and seconder, and then we'll have Ms. Valentine tell us all about it. So I have Councillor Kirkby and Deputy Mayor Young. Dana, the floor is yours. Is Dana there? Oh, there she is. Okay. Sorry, Dana.
Thank you, Mayor Shankar, through you to council. So we have a report before you tonight recommending council approval of an application to the Rural Ontario Development Program. under the community development stream. Applications are due this Thursday, and the total cost for the project would be $189,500. So just to take you through a little bit of background, the funding program was formerly known as the RED program. Council members who have a bit of a history would be more familiar with it under that name. It's been redeveloped into the Rural Ontario Development Program, expanded to offer some new options. And the community development stream provides up to 50% of cost share funding to a maximum of $150,000. So the category itself focuses on initiatives that address barriers to economic development, increase community capacity and effectiveness, and strengthen rural competitiveness, as well as supporting local economic growth and resiliency. So our department reviewed the application and identified a number of potential projects. The one that really kind of jumped forward to the top of the list was the downtown revitalization substream. So this substream supports projects that implement actions to improve or promote the downtown, including activities such as growing customer traffic, initiatives to attract new businesses to locate in the downtown. And ideally, these activities are aligned to an existing plan or strategy. So as I mentioned, the current deadline is February 26th, this Thursday. And the project that we're proposing encompasses a number of different categories, which include beautification and placemaking improvements, downtown marketing and business support initiatives, and data technology tools intended to increase foot traffic, as well as improve the visitor experience and strengthen downtown competitiveness, while also supporting business retention and attraction outcomes. So the project elements themselves are designed to support the town's existing downtown revitalization and economic development framework, including council-approved strategic priorities. The broad guidelines emphasize that projects should support rural economic development, including addressing barriers, capacity, and effectiveness. So we've really focused on building those aspects into the application. And it will be structured to really clearly connect project activities to measurable results. And the analytics is going to be a big part of that project in helping us measure some of the success of those initiatives to market the downtown, bring new traffic, and ideally attract new businesses. And the guidelines also stress the importance of local support and partner commitments, which is another reason why we felt the downtown revitalization project really presented us with the best potential of success. After approaching the BIA to confirm their level of interest, they were very excited to contribute $40,000 to the project, which will effectively reduce the town's net contribution and really set the application up for greater support. It was a very important thing for the funders to see that not only are there partners, but partners with some skin in the game, for lack of a better word, that have really demonstrated a commitment, not just to sit around a table and help with the planning piece, but really get behind the project. So the next part of the report just kind of takes you through two potential funding scenarios, one being approved in full by the ROD fund, the second being if we end up with the unfortunate scenario that it's declined. So the first kind of takes you through what the key project elements are. First being waste and recycle receptacles and dog waste stations for the downtown. As I'm sure many members will agree, the receptacles are looking very tired, and we're looking at offering more of a system that incorporates recycling and waste disposal options, as well as something that has cigarette butt disposals attached to them. So we can work on addressing a number of different elements of refuse that we see in the downtown core. And then we're looking at replacing pole-mounted banners, the seasonal banners that you see in the winter months. It's the blue banners with snowflakes right now. And then in the summer months, you see the photos of Prescott. So we'd like to design 2 new sets of banners. And believe it or not, that cost is about $40,000. Decorative pole lighting, we need to replace the lights on the poles in the downtown. not just for the holidays, but we're looking at something that's programmable, that could be left up year round and actually lit in different seasonal themes depending on holidays or different initiatives going on in the community. And then we'd like to explore new seasonal decor, which would be a fountain light fixture that would be installed on the fountain in the wintertime that would essentially create a replica of a fountain throughout the winter via a lighting structure. It would really add a lot of interest and appeal to that area. I'm sure as everyone can recall, as you're coming down the Edward Street Bridge, you can see the fountain and the flag post there, and that fixture would be visible right from the top of the bridge all the way down Edward Street. We thought it would add a really nice decorative element to that area. And then we'd also like to explore art installations throughout the downtown. So we're looking at creating what we've coined an umbrella alley, which would involve basically putting colorful umbrellas in one of our alleys. We're thinking the one that connects, that goes through BMO, that connects over to the Legion. Highly traveled area, and it just really adds a nice pop of color, an opportunity for people to take selfies and just slow people down as they're going by, and maybe compel some vehicles to slow down and get out and explore. And then another idea that we would like to explore is some murals for vacant windows in the downtown to add some color and appeal to those spaces until they're filled with businesses. And this is one that I've been wanting to implement since I started a few years ago, the Prescott Business Pitch Competition. So this would essentially involve putting an opportunity out to new startup businesses to pitch a business concept for the downtown core. And the selected concept would receive funding that they could use to pay for leasing a downtown property. For the first 6 months, they would also have the opportunity to tap into the CIP program to provide them with business startup and supports from signage, interior improvements, and also potentially receive funding through Community Futures Grenville, which provides matching funding for that program. So it's really a way for us to take a more hands-on approach to recruiting businesses to the downtown core and have a bit more of a say when it comes to the actual type of businesses. We've done a lot of work through our department in identifying, where those key business opportunities lie, and think this would be a really great program to start recruiting the types of businesses that really fit with what we have in the downtown core and would really build on where we're hoping to see it grow in the future. And then we have a downtown marketing campaign. So this would be essentially a spin-off of the marketing strategy and implementation plan that was just completed in December. And it would essentially develop a marketing campaign more specific to the downtown core that would be, at the end of the day, it would attract a lot more investment to the community as a whole, but it would definitely be downtown focused and really enable us to invest some significant dollars into marketing the community and attracting new businesses and new visitors to the downtown. And then we have the downtown visitor analytics, which I mentioned, and a business and visitor familiarization platform. So this would be a digital platform that provides potential businesses and investors with information on the community. Everything from statistics to demographics to mapping to the types of businesses that we have, what types of vacancies are available, properties that are available, and provide a really real insight into the properties themselves to help potential investors and developers make better decisions when they're looking at communities. So the total for that, if approved, would be 189.5. BIA portion would be 40. Town portion would be 54,750, leaving 94,750 from the ROD program. If we are not successful, there is another intake. So the recommendation would be to reapply for the next intake in September. If we are indeed unsuccessful, then that would bring us into scenario 2, which would effectively reduce some of those elements. The first two would remain the same, no changes to the waste recycle receptacles or the pole banners. Decorative pole lighting would be reduced. to 10,000 versus 14. The seasonal decor, including the fountain lighting and additional Xmas decor, would have to be eliminated. Our installations and the Prescott pitch would remain. The marketing campaign would be eliminated. Visitor analytics would be reduced by half, and the familiarization platform would be reduced. And if unsuccessful, we would look at a new application to the ROD fund. There is one additional intake, and I would recommend at that point that we explore other economic development projects that might be viewed to be more favorable. And as far as alternatives go, council can choose not to authorize the submission of the application, which would forgo the opportunity to secure provincial cost share funding. And option 2, council could direct staff to submit a smaller application to the February intake. However, the package is definitely structured to achieve a comprehensive and measurable impact consistent with the program's objectives. So to make a reduction in that would significantly impact the implementation side. Financial implications, I've already taken you through. When it comes to the budget, our contribution would be 54,750 if successful. Happy to answer any questions, and I did just include a copy of the guidelines and the attachments.
Thank you, Ms. Valentine. I do have one quick question. I see the deadline is February 26th. Do you know when they will announce the winners of funding?
So in the timelines, the projects can't commence until April 1st. So I'm anticipating we're going to hear quite quickly, definitely by April, because they want projects to commence right away.
And I mean, if as Councillor McConnell mentioned earlier, Steve Clark says we do a great job with our application. So let's hope we've done a good job on this one as well. Any questions from the floor? Councillor McConnell?
Thank you, Mayor Schenker. 2 questions, if I may, one for Dana and one for Matthew. Dana, I'm a little unclear, and perhaps you could clarify this for me. We're going to take a vote on this, I presume, and are we voting to allow you to apply for this, but if you don't get it in 2 kicks at the can, are we also voting to then go ahead with the smaller version ourselves with a larger contribution from the town? Could you clarify that, please?
Yes, essentially that is what we're looking for from council tonight, is to approve scenario 1 if successful and scenario 2 if unsuccessful. I would also defer, I did want to mention some of these elements are included in the project list that council has been reviewing. So you would see those reductions made within that project list as well if we're unsuccessful with the funding.
Okay, thank you. If I may, the second question I had was for Matthew. Matthew, are either of these scenarios, have you accounted for them in the budget for 2026?
Yes, to Mr. Mayor. So in the next presentation, which is the project budget, I have accounted for it in the worst case scenario that we wouldn't receive the funding and that there would be a larger draw from reserves. And so that has been accounted for in the project budget at this point. And then if we do get the funding, then it would be a smaller draw in reserves.
Very good. I would like to make a suggestion if I could. I'm quite happy to approve the submission of this thing. I'm not so happy to see that tied to an automatic going ahead with this without coming back to council. If the 2 kicks at the can are not successful, I think that should be split into 2 different votes. It's just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McConnell. Any other questions or comments? Is that you, Justin, or no?
That is.
Okay, go ahead.
Through you, Mayor Schenker. I looked at it from the worst case scenario with the understanding that we're voting on option 1 and 2 tonight. The one thing that I'll say is it's hard for me not to vote in favor of it. The downtown has been on a real rip tear in the last few years. Businesses are in the vacant buildings. There's still vacant buildings, and there's probably some that are still on the edge, but you know, the downtown is back. It's busy. And as we continue to explore adding new residents, you know, and making funds available for our economic and development staff, you know, the one thing I think at times is we don't want to get stagnant, right? We want to continue on the momentum we have to keep the momentum of our downtown going. We spent a long time, and I'm not blaming anybody, but it was a ghost town down there. You know, and we are back. We are drawing people in the summer. We're drawing people in the winter. I do weekend drives. I do a lot of drives through Prescott. It's more my speed, I guess, at 40, the speed limit. And, you know, I see a lot of license plates. Right? I see a lot of license plates. I see our neighbors from the south are back, enjoying our restaurants. They're opening up, you know, they always kind of seem to, used to migrate to the Chinese restaurants, but now you see them at Renegades, you see them at Chuck's, you see them at Wing House. I have family over in Ogdensburg that just kind of marvels at our downtown compared to theirs or any downtown that's local to them. So for me, you know, I feel like I have to vote in favor of it because of the work that our staff's done to turn our downtown around. And that's kind of how I feel about it. And I think a lot of the residents are enjoying having a vibrant downtown. Hopefully it just continues to blossom. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kirkby. Councillor Young.
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. I would definitely vote in favor. I am on the BIA as well, and I know that we wholeheartedly would really be looking forward to successful funding. I think it shows confidence in our downtown when the council supports something like this, and public investment always leads to private investment, 100% of the time, I believe. And I think it's not even just about beautification, but our downtown is gatherings. It's still a gathering space, and to keep that sustainable, I think that investment is necessary. So I will be voting in favor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councillor Byrne, is that your hand up?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Mayor Shankar, I just want to echo my fellow councillors saying, like, I'm definitely going to vote in favor of this. I think it's an excellent opportunity to just keep the momentum going. You know, there's not going to be any barriers here. We just need to keep the momentum going. So thank you.
Thank you. I think, you know, with two kicks at the can, with the joint partnership with BIA, with the recent successes, I think we'll do well. And even if it's a worst case scenario, it'll still be good. So if there's no other further questions, I'm going to go ahead and call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Or sorry, Councilor McConnell, opposed, abstain, or in favor?
Question. I'm gonna vote in favor of it, but like I said,
Yeah, no, we
got
got you. Thank you.
I'm in favor of it.
Approved then. All right, thank you very much. We'll move on. Sorry. So next one is a project prioritization with Matthew for information only. So Matthew, floor is yours.
Very much, Mr. Mayor. I'm just going to bring up the slideshow. All right, so this evening we're just going to go through the projects previously approved and in progress, what council has identified as 2026 priorities, projects that maybe need some additional scope, design, and or funding to go along with them. One some of the projects that we saw that can be undertaken operationally, and then projects to potentially move to the 2027 list. So again, when we go through some of the projects that have been previously approved, wastewater expansion is the largest one. East Street reconstruction and that last block from Dibble to James. The suggestion is to hold it to 2027, and that's based on moving forward with replacing the water main on King Street from Van Conen to Russell in 2026. Water tower demolition, and then it kind of goes through the number of items on that list for a total of about 35.5 million. When we take a look at the 2026 priorities, I put them in order of dollar amount. So water main replacement from King Street on King Street from Van Conen to Russell would be paid by the water wastewater reserves and the Canadian Community Benefit Fund. That's what we use to do our reconstruction projects. The Seymour Recreation Complex, new baseball diamond. We weren't successful in moving to the next round for the Blue Jays foundation application. However, what we would suggest is completing the design for the baseball diamond and doing a smaller tender this year that wouldn't include the lights, but simply the diamond itself, as well as the fencing, that sort of thing, and then reapplying to the Jays Foundation at the end of 2026 for the lights to be installed in 2027. We know that our friends in Augusta are currently going through a process of replacing the lights in North Augusta, and we would like to learn from them exactly the ins and outs of doing baseball lighting and being able to move that forward. Certainly the feedback that we got from the Jays Foundation is if we had a project that they're only supporting a part of, such as the lights, that they'd be a little bit more comfortable with doing that. So certainly we would pare down our tender to just focus on a baseball diamond and then add an application for lights in 2027. The operations sweeper replacement was highly rated by council, and that would be a kind of a sharing between the infrastructure reserve and the operational equipment reserve. Downtown revitalization project, the 189,500. There was a number of ones that have now been kind of grouped together into that. And as I mentioned in the previous report, I put in there if it was worst case scenario that we didn't get the funding, and then being able to draw on the reserve in that case. The development of the ACC hand drilling, this isn't quite ready to be able to start the project. We would have to sit with an architect and engineering to be able to come back to council with some options, and then be able to move that one forward. The Oboyville Community Center Year 1 deficiencies, we've talked about previously. Installing the water main loop for Fishel and Prescott Center Drive is important to make sure that if we have any breaks on Edward or further up, that we're not shutting down the grocery store, hotel, and Canadian Tire, as well as all of Victor and Roberta Crescent. Transferring to the CIP reserve, website accessibility and branding update is required. As we start going through, Blockett Place Gardens was put forward. There was 5 yeses on council for that. That could be paid for from the fiscal policy through the sale of the land that has occurred. Marina parking lot, and as you go down, the numbers start getting smaller and smaller. So with that, a total of $2.3 million would be what the project budget would be for 2026. And then in a couple of slides, I'll show you how we're going to pay for it. So one's requiring additional work and scope and funding. The parts heavy equipment trailer, we're having a little bit of a battle between the size of the equipment trailer that we need and what we can pull it with. The heavier the trailer can take, the bigger the towing capacity has to be. And then at a certain point, you end up having to get a different driver's license to be able to support the size of that trailer. So that we're doing a little bit more work on and being able to say, what is that magic number that we can move it through. Disc golf, we heard from a couple of councillors that they would like to see that as a perhaps exploring some grant funding for that. So moving it to this one. The Council of Modular Furniture, we're still working on that. We realized it didn't get a lot of support from council or any. And so we would like to come back, rescope that, and perhaps come back at a later date. SRC lights along the pathway did get 2 yeses. We would like to evaluate how soccer functions in that area before making a recommendation to council of adding lights along the walking track at the SRC, because the last thing we want to do is install lighting and then it interfere with the activities that are going on there. Town facility lighting replacement, again, I think we need to scope that one a little bit more before we come back to council. Multi-use path along Sophia Street and Churchill Road. What we will be doing with this one is starting the work to be able to, there's a fair amount of engineering work and topography information that we need to collect before we can actually move that one forward. And additional street lighting, we're working with RSL to determine exactly what that costing would look like and come back to council at a later date. And then business wayfinding, that would be a kind of a cost recovery type of project where businesses would participate in the cost of that. So these are ones that, you know, we do need to do some additional work on. We're just putting kind of them in the parking lot for now, so to speak, and then being able to come back to council at a later date once we have that scope figured out a little bit better. From ones that we can take from a operational perspective, so Centennial Park CCTV, we are running a couple of lower cost alternatives. They don't obviously have the same features as the ones that we installed at intersections, but certainly from a facility perspective, they are lower cost solutions, and as I mentioned, ones that we're testing to see if it meets the needs. Skate and helmet lending library, we believe we can do that within the operational budget. The marina kitchen sink we can do within the budget, as well as there's a tent that we have at the marina. We've had to replace it several times just because of the wind down there, that sort of thing. So we believe we can find a lower cost alternative. And then obviously the defibrillators and the eavesdrop at the fire hall can all be undertaken as part of the operational budget. One is moving to 2027. If we got no yeses, 1 or 2, then we kind of just put them on this list for now, as well as ones that perhaps we don't have a really good understanding of what the scope or potential cost would be. And so from a draft project budget perspective, the total is 2.33 million. Funding from reserves will be 1.3 million. The ACC SRC project will be 650,000. And then grant funding for 341 to come to the total of 2.33 million. We did also provide a graph in here to show what reserves would look like. Basically, between transfers and contributions to reserve will be about 1.9 million, 1.8 coming out of reserves. And so just a small increase in about 120,000 from our estimated balance at 2025 to our estimated balance at 2026. So really for discussion at this point, does council agree with the priority projects for 2026, as well as kind of how we organize the ones into the other buckets as well? Depending on how the discussion goes tonight, then we would come back to council next week with the complete list for 2026 projects and seeking further contemplation and potentially approval. More than happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you, Matthew. Oops. All right, looking for hands or anyone who wants to have any questions for Matthew. Councillor Campbell.
Through you, Mayor Shankar. I'm just curious about the baseball diamond. Is it actual baseball diamond, or is it going to be both softball, baseball, or is it going to be little league? Just curious.
So it would maintain the same concept as we did with the Jays Foundation. That would be for baseball.
Is it like the Chick Kirkby diamond that was removed, the little league diamond?
No, so I think when we take a look at our neighboring municipalities with softball and Little League, that sort of thing, is that there's, you know, a very large number within 15 minutes of Prescott, but there is no actual baseball. Now, from a Little League perspective, you can do a second kind of markers to be able to show where a Little League diamond would end, so that they would be able to determine where the home runs would be.
Okay, so you're gonna have, well, these are details, but are you gonna have like a grass infield, or is it gonna be all gravel, or?
So that would be part of the what we would work on, but it would be followed very similar to what we showed when we applied to the JS Foundation.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Campbell. Any other questions? All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Matthew. We're going to move on. Next on our list is resolutions. There are no resolutions, but we do have two bylaws. 14.1 is bylaw 08-2026, the transfer payment agreement, RE Health and Safety Water Stream. The motion is that bylaw 08-2026 being a bylaw to enter into a transfer payment agreement with the Municipal Housing Infrastructure Program, Health and Safety Water Stream, and the Corporation of the Town of Prescott be read and passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, and sealed by the seal of the corporation. Can I get a mover and seconder for that? I got Councillor Burton and Councillor Tracy Young. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. The next bylaw is 09-2026, a 211 service agreement. That bylaw, sorry, the motion is that bylaw 09-2026 being a bylaw to enter into a service agreement between Community Navigation of Eastern Ontario /211 Eastern Region and the Corporation of the Town of Prescott be read and passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, and sealed by the seal of the corporation. So I need a mover and seconder. I got Councillor Kirkby and Deputy Mayor Young. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, next is new business. We have 15.1 is Kraft Hockeyville support letter. The motion is that council supports and endorses the letter of support for the Kraft Hockeyville campaign for the Spencerville Arena in the township of Edwardsburg, Cardinal, and that council directs the mayor to sign the letter on behalf of the town. Can I get a mover and seconder on that? Councillor Kirkby and Councillor McConnell, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. We have no notices of motions and no mayor's proclamations. Mr. Armstrong, do we have any media questions?
No, we do not.
Great. So next up is we're going to move into closed session. So the motion is that council move into closed session at 7:07 p.m. to discuss matters pertaining to 19.1, approval of closed session minutes of January 26, 2026. 19.2 is potential litigation. 19.3 is healthcare resource funding contract extension. Under section 239-2E, under the Municipal Act, litigation or potential litigation, and under section 239-2K, under the Municipal Act, plans and instructions for negotiations, specifically healthcare resource funding contract extension, and that the CAO treasurer, director of administration, clerk, and deputy clerk remain in the room. Mover and seconder for that, please. Councillor Campbell and Councillor Kirkby, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. So we'll let the room clear and we'll get back together.